Joyce Wieland is one of the most generous artists that I have ever worked on. We are here today in the most magnificent Montreal Museum of Fine Arts for the Joyce Wieland Hard-On exhibition.
I would go out on the street and people would stop me, "Are you the lady that did this show?" And I say, "Yes." "Well, we love it because it's quilts and it's about our country, and we love quilts, and we didn't know quilts could have big words on them." And it was fabulous.
I can't think of another artist who was in that time so very interested in these issues and understanding what are the issues that are so alive and also urgent for Francophones, for Quebecers. She read everything and she became fascinated with basically a revolution. I mean, where else in this country has there been a revolution? She became fascinated by the events of her time. She went to the convention and heard Pierre Trudeau say these words. And she just became fascinated with this idea, like how can this idea of reason over passion? And so she made the English version, but then she made the French version as a true gift to Trudeau. And it hung in the Prime Minister's residence. The famous story, of course, Margaret Trudeau, his wife, in her memoirs, recalls having a great argument with Trudeau. And she was so infuriated by his very cold and precise attitude that she started to rip off the letters and throw them at him as he was leaving the residence. The little funny part after that is that apparently what he was most upset with her about was that she ruined a work of art. You come with an open heart. The more time you spend with each work, the more little treasures she will give you. And I think this is what is gorgeous about Wieland, you know. And I think Montrealers and Quebecers and Canadians are going to respond to this generosity of spirit. And it's almost, you know, like a grandmother's voice at this time, telling you to remember who you are and to do better.
The last retrospective was 40 years ago at the Art Gallery of Ontario. And I was amazed at how she engaged with such vivacity and freshness and openness of mind with the great issues of her time. Political questions with regards to the nature, the complexity, the contradictions of nationalism. She lived 10 years in the States, experienced American nationalism firsthand, understood Canadian nationalism in the 60s and 70s, but also understood that Quebec nationalism was also valid. And so she navigated the realities of her time, but with a unique voice, looking at how craft, how handmade stuff could say something about the world.